My name is Lola B, and this is 30 Days of Glamour Magic. Today is Tuesday, January 6th, and today's embodiment theme is Glamour for Confidence. And we are in day 9 to share some glamour tips and techniques to add to your current spell work or grimoire. This is a learning platform, so if you do stay and get comfortable, I encourage you to have a notebook or writing utensil, whatever you like to take notes with, and some supplies. A reflective surface first if you like to participate in the mirror work portion. Any makeup supplies for the application. That's part of it as well. Have a nice quiet background, whatever helps you to be able to concentrate, get the pets, the kids, everybody down to sleep. If you like to participate in any of the spell work, again, I focus on color, I focus on makeup application, and we will start to transition into other glamour techniques as the weeks and the days go on. Right now, we're focused on makeup applications. For the first hour, it will be the teaching portion, and then the second hour will be the makeup, where we can continue piggybacking off the information that was provided, or we can just free talk about whatever it is that may be on your heart. Again, today is Tuesday, Mars Day, about confidence, presence, even courage. And today it is I trust myself to take up space, and I stand firm in who I am. I trust myself to take up space, and I stand firm in who I am. There's some affirmations for Mars Day. Mars is about being assertive, having and masculine energy. Head over heart, logic. Tuesday with Mars is also associated with sacral chakra, which is the reason why we're playing 288 hertz frequency. If you're feeling like your hormones are not balanced, a little emotional instability, maybe withdrawn, having some issues with control, then that is the sound frequency to listen to. This is about I feel, trust, and being in tune with your emotions. And so if you feel imbalanced with that particular energy center, then you can use 288 hertz frequency. Mars is also associated with Aries, Scorpio, which is is fire and water sign, and then that's the cardinal and fixed modality. So usually for Tuesday, we're talking about eye contact, regulating the nervous system, and using the portal for self-perception, which is why we're going to be talking about confidence. Confidence is something that wavers. So that's the first thing that I want to say before getting into any other talking points is do not have the expectation to be 100% confident as whatever the scale of confidence is, whatever your peak of confidence is, all the time. That should not be an expectation. Confidence is wavers, and confidence is something that has to be practiced like everything else, that has to be worked on. But the question simply was going to be, and the question is, what makes you feel most confident? Obviously, I'll continue to ask that as the stream goes on, and you're free to put that in the chat. When do you feel most confident? I know that I feel most confident usually when I have created something. An intense question is very intense energy, and when it comes to that, I guess it's an accomplishment. It's a little bit of an accomplishment when I create something. So that's when I feel most confident. I'll be asking that throughout the duration of the stream, just for conversation's sake, just to see what makes you feel most confident. So again, today is about confidence, presence, and courage. Confidence does waver, but it's not loud. We're learning to be okay with taking up space, your presence being 100% enough, moving with sincerity and with ease. Confidence isn't about volume, it's about stability. I used to say all the time, confident people propel other people into confidence. Confident people want other people to be confident. Confident people don't bully, they don't down people. In confidence, again, is not loud. When somebody is confident, you see it. You may even feel it. But you definitely see it, and it's not much that has to be done. When your breath is steady, when you have a relaxed posture, when you have clear intentions, you're showing up very sure of yourself, when you have eliminated doubt. And so how does glamour add into that? I was gonna say pay any mind to that. I don't even know why it came to my mind like that, but what does glamour have to do with that particular aspect of confidence? Is the fact that a lot of times you feel confident when you are wearing the outfit that fits just right, or your favorite colors, or when you have girlies, we like to do our makeup, when your hair is cut, or you got a fresh retwist, or those type of things is what allows you to be able to be very sure, you're not second guessing, I'm a seamstress as well, so I talk about I don't like to have to adjust my clothes all day when I'm out. If it was the right colors, you know what I'm saying, something that I feel very sure of myself in, that has everything to do with the way that I present myself to the world. Because when I'm at home and I'm in the mirror and I put it on, that's one thing. But as I go out into the world, I have to be able to carry that same energy every stop that I make, every interaction that I have, and carry me through the day. And it always ends up being some bonus points when you get a compliment here or there, right? But again, it shows up as steady breath, relaxed posture, clear intentions, a surety about yourself. So it's not about being loud. Confidence is not about being loud. Can confident people express themselves loudly? Absolutely. We're talking about makeup, we're talking about color, we're talking about clothing, we're talking about different glamour techniques. So it could be expressed in multiple ways, but from a vocal standpoint, it's not necessarily something that has to be loud. It's just about being stable. It's about being anchored. Asking and being anchored and rooted in the body. So therefore, when we're talking about the sacral chakra, it's one of the lower chakras as well, down here in the body. And basically, when you are not confident, what helps you get to that point is about what helps you feel solid in yourself. That's the reason why we constantly talk about meditation. Meditation is a grounding technique. With the breathing itself, the square breathing that we do before we get into the mirror work, that right there is a practice that helps you to just be present. You have to be grounded. You have to feel like you're on solid footing. In order to stand up straight, that's another posture about confidence. You have to be, and in order to be grounded, in order to be present, sometimes you have to actually control your breathing. You have to do a couple things just to remember. Because a lot of times we're so worried about tomorrow and we're so caught up on yesterday that we're forgetting to just be in this moment. So sometimes you have to do something. Sometimes you have to do some breathing exercises. Sometimes you have to say some affirmations. But if you struggle with confidence right here and right now, the question is, what helps you to feel solid in yourself? Prayer is always something that helps me to feel solid because I'm a talker. And when there's not always somebody for me to talk to, I go into prayer and meditation. So that's something that helps me feel grounded. It doesn't even have to be super spiritual. Some people like to color. Some people listen to music. You know what I'm saying? There are different things that help you to feel solid within yourself. And these are things I'm kind of leaning toward describing things that you would do in your solitude. Because there's always a time for solidarity, but within balance, you need just as much amount of solitude. And that's where a lot of the work then it presents itself and manifests in a different way. All that work is done behind closed doors. All that work is done with yourself and the divine. But think about what makes you feel solid within yourself. And sometimes, and when we talk about base energy, we've been talking about that a lot, just knowing that you try to get back to that place. So having regular practices of being able to know, giving the baby a pacifier. The baby will know when they see it coming that is what soothes them. And so they're ready to start calming down as soon as you go to present it to them. That's kind of what we're saying. Having the regular consistency of practicing aspects. So the energetic core, the breadcrumbs are there. You get back to base energy. When you're freaking out about something, you should know how to calm yourself down. You should know how to soothe. You should know how to realign with all of your energy centers, your chakras. But it takes practice to be able to do so. And a lot of times it's just like I said, that's why we always start with the square breath. Because a lot of times what makes you feel like that you're not getting it accomplished, always the ruminating. It's always the thoughts going on up here. And so when you start the breathing and start the meditation process, that's what helps you to identify every single thought singularly. Be able to empty the mind space, if that is what the goal is. Be in the present moment, so then you can actually get down to whatever you're trying to do. If it's like, I've been having some difficulty sleeping, and then I know that I need to have a certain type of routine, and these are the steps to do so, but I'm still just forgetting and everything like that. So it could mean that, you have some issues with time management. And I'm using myself as an example. This is a real life example. So that meant what I did this week on Monday or Sunday, I believe it was, I actually wrote myself some to-do lists. I had to do a business and stream to-do list, and then I had to do a personal to-do list. And so because sometimes we just want to rely on the brain and we want to just be like, I'm going to remember everything. We don't remember everything. That is just not even the mechanism of how the brain works. The brain is supposed to forget. So I was just like, this would help myself, and always spin it to positive. There's sometimes, because I hear something, maybe it's me, where it's like you write stuff down, and sometimes the list is overwhelming because you never really get to, it's almost like a never-ending list. But that's part of it. That's part of it. Let it be ever evolving. Don't look at it as like, oh my gosh, now I wrote everything down and now I can see all the stuff I have to do and it's just overwhelming. How about just, no, this is perfect for me. Now I have this visual of everything that needs to be done. I don't have to rely on memory alone. And because it's ever evolving, I always stay on track. That's a quick reframing. Not being overwhelmed by, because you know what I do notoriously? I write down a list, and as I'm doing other things, it's oh shoot, I forgot that. Or I do something that's not on the list, but that was equally important. So it's just like, it happens. I have different color pens on here even, just because it was like, oh, added something that I wasn't thinking about. So I feel like, but it does feel you're scratching it off or you hit that check, you do feel accomplished. So don't get overwhelmed by the processes, but utilize different, the whole point of that example was utilize different techniques. I could remember certain things that I need to do, but it'll just be haunting me if it's in my brain alone. Writing it down is a memory exercise, and it also helps me to be more on track. So when we're talking about, again, the example of confidence. So the practice of it, just being able to utilize different techniques. And that's when people ask me about the makeup, for instance. They're like, oh, how did you get, the goal first was just to play around. I always think if somebody else can do it, I can too. The goal was just to play around with makeup. I like makeup. I like the artistic element of it. Then the next goal was to learn my face and actually get better at certain makeup techniques that I wanted to. I like to cover my dark marks. I like to enhance certain parts of my face. I love dramatic eyeshadow. So it was like, oh, so I started looking up certain videos specifically for that. Definitely practice breeds perfection. Whatever level that I mastery of I want to get at, I just have to be consistent. So when people ask me that, it's like, I don't know. I just, for years, I just kept looking up videos, and then I kept changing my goals, enhancing my goals. And then now it's not about going anywhere. It's not about showing off to anybody. I just sit and I get my mirror and I do makeup, and that's something that makes me feel confident. And I'm practicing art. I'm enhancing certain parts of my face. I feel more confident. I have all these different looks I can pull on and techniques now when I do want to go outside, different things like that. So it's like a build upon thing. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's something that you have to work on consistently. And that's why we always say add it to your repertoire, because there are certain skills that you can just add. We mentioned this yesterday about the body leading the mind, about remembering that it's not the opposite way around. The body does lead the mind. So when the body feels supported, the mind will then follow. That's the reason why we talk about meditation and square breathing and different things to get the body to a certain point and then have those anchors. That's what clothing, we talked about it, clothing, makeup, grooming. Those different things can act as anchors to help us get to that grounding point of where we feel safe, where we feel the most comfortable, where we feel pretty, where we feel whatever. And then that's embodied. That is then what becomes embodied confidence. Because as we mentioned yesterday as well, everything that is a habit you do over and over again. And once you do over and over again, that's that imprint that's left. You do it without having to think about it. Now you don't have to think about the steps. It's just ingrained. It becomes a part of who you are. So that's embodied confidence, and not just like a mindset talk, because it does start with the mindset shift. But everything that we're doing repeatedly starts to become who we are, and we can be it. We're not just talking about it, we're embodying it. And that is why you have to identify what makes you confident. You have to understand, because it might be different for everybody. And that's why I said confidence wavers. You may be having a low confidence ebb within your flow. I can't try to jerk you out of there, and I can't try to make you feel bad about it. I can encourage you by pushing you to get back to your base energy. I can encourage you to do the things that make you feel confident. But I can't try to shame or ridicule, because where you may lack in confidence, that may be my strong suit, and then vice versa, right? Anybody can be sitting on any side of the table. So confidence is just practice in some of the small choices, some of the little things that you do that you can build upon. You always hear me talk about when I put my eyeshadow on that my goal is for people to make eye contact with me. That's a confidence thing. When you can look somebody in the eye when you're having conversation, that is confidence. Standing still and not fidgeting. Having a very fixed, relaxed posture. That is a confidence thing. Speaking without rushing. You have to excuse me because my literal brain moves faster than my mouth, and I have a slight stutter, and I'm dyslexic. You lose people sometimes when you talk too fast, or people think that you're trying to one-up them, or you're trying to sell them something, or you're trying to trick them. So definitely having eye contact, staying still, speaking without rushing, having a fixed posture, all those things play into how confidence can be expressed. And again, because everybody's confidence may be at different levels and everybody has different base energy of what makes you feel confident, this is a very personal thing. We can encourage and we can help to affirm, but you have to be the one that identifies what makes you feel solid in yourself and practice on a continual basis to ensure that you can get back to that base energy anytime you feel like you're out of alignment. For the second half, it is the application. So I encourage everybody to have a notebook, a writing utensil, anything that you like to take notes with. Any supplies, we do use mirrors, reflective surfaces. We're going to open a portal for our mirror practice in just a few. Any other supplies, if you like to follow along, if you're learning or like to learn different makeup techniques with me as well. Today is Tuesday, is Mars Day, and our affirmation is I trust myself to take up space, as well as I added I stand firm in who I am. We've already left our foundational week where we talked about what is Glamour Magic, mirror work 101. We explained the planetary days. We talked a little bit about intentions and manifesting. And we had rest and reflection on how to integrate all of that, as well as to launch us for visibility, to launch us into this Glamour week. All these piggyback off of each other, but you are welcome to join lessons at any point in time in the 30 days. We should be going strong all the way to January. Before we get into our mirror work, I do love to make sure that we go over our code of ethics as well as our rule of 3. This is 100% making sure that we're on the same page as we do these spiritual practices and this spell work together. This is my spiritual practice, and at the moon, we live by the moon and take light from the sun. This work that we do is for self-embodiment, confidence, and personal alignment. We work in clarity, consent, and care. We do not, let me stress, we do not influence, manipulate, override anyone's free will, or cause any intentional harm. All the energy is grounded, protected, and returned to balance. That is our code of ethics, and if you agree with that, then you can most definitely participate in any of the spell work that we do here. If you are someone that likes to dip and dabble in the dark arts and black magic, there are plenty of practitioners out there. Just like you found me, I'm sure you can find them. That is just not what we do over here. Our rule of 3 is very simple. Am I being specific? Will it harm me or anyone else? And am I willing to take responsibility? The reason why those are important is because, as we talked about, being intentional when you are manifesting, pulling things into this realm, or aligning yourself with parts of the reality that you are trying to experience in this timeline, you can't just be doing it haphazardly. You need to be specific. You can say, I want a car, or you can say, I want a 6-seat, 3rd row, comfy cabin, all-wheel drive, gray. You feel my drift? Be as specific as possible, because the universe is going to mirror what you put out. Will it harm me or anyone else? It's important that anything that you practice or participating in, that you risk that are involved. That's just simply stated. And then, am I willing to take responsibility? We do live in a realm of duality. As above, so below. Cause and effect is at play. For every action, there is a reaction. So that means you have to be willing to take responsibility for whatever happens with the spell work that you participate in and initiate. So that is our rule of 3 here, and that's our code of ethics. Again, if you agree with that, then you're welcome and free to continue to do spell work with us here at the moon. Again, it's the full moon in Virgo. It is Tuesday, so it's Mars Day. We have 2 affirmations that I want to be able to guide you to be able to say. So let's go ahead, and this is a time where I want to get our reflective surface. I have my mirror here that I always use for any of my glamour practices, even outside of instruction. and it is covered because we do close the portals after we open them up, and now we have to open it back up to be able to do our mirror practice. I take the same cloth that I cloak my mirror with, and I take some alcohol, which I have 91%, and I just add a little bit to, if I open up the right way, just a little bit to the corner, and I'm going to clean the mirror with the alcohol and open up the portal, going in small circles, clockwise, forward in time. And we're going to go ahead and open up the portal. If you would like to say a little incantation at this particular time, you can. Joining in on it tonight with me, you don't have to. Always pray ahead of time. And Archangel Michael is always at the ready and is here to protect all this work that we are doing together. But if you would like to, you can just say something very simple. As I stated yesterday, and a constant reminder that the more time you spend in prayer and meditation, the easier it is for you to come up with incantations on the fly. So you can just say that today, using the energy of Mars with assertion and full of vitality. And we open up this portal asking for only the energies and the beings of our highest good to participate in this ritual along with us for clarity, care, and consent. Again, this energy is grounded, protected, and balanced. All right, so before we actually, and I'm going to take my glasses off for this portion. Before we actually get into the affirmations and a reminder of how important it is to make sure that when you are looking at yourself in the reflective surface, that you do not break eye contact. We want to make sure that we're nice and relaxed, and we do some square breathing to get us to that point. If you're not familiar with square breathing, it's very simple. The concept of square breathing is to exhale, inhale, hold, and exhale on the same count. Well, I did learn from a holistic therapist a little while back to give ourselves a few extra seconds on the exhale, just as a representation of the allowing ourselves more space to release. So today we'll be using that method. I always like to sit in a regular chair so that my posture is nice and relaxed. I don't have to sit up like this. Just shoulders relaxed, sitting naturally in my chair, feet firmly planted on the ground. I don't suggest sitting crisscross applesauce, although you can do whatever feels right. But usually when I want to feel more grounded, I do like to actually have my feet on the ground. And so therefore I'm sitting up in a chair instead. I sit in a chair, and then I'm going to, again, inhale for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds, and then I'm going to exhale for 6 seconds. This is before we've opened the portal, the mirror is there, is waiting for us. But before we even get to looking in the mirror and saying our affirmations, we want to make sure that we can set ourselves to our base energy with a little grounding with square breathing. So I'm going to demonstrate the time with my hands. I usually like to close my eyes, and then we'll do that a little bit until we feel like we're ready. We just have 2 simple affirmations, and we're going to keep a neutral, calm tone right along with where our base energy is. And so at this point, we're just going to inhale on 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. In order to push out that extra breath, I do suggest that you are inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. So let's try it again. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Let's continue to do that a few more times. You can go ahead and count however what makes you the most comfortable. If you find yourself raising your shoulders in the inhale, then make sure that you actually release them and let them down on the exhale. If any thoughts are there or come to mind, feel free to go ahead and acknowledge it and just push it out the mental space. And this is the time where you should feel where there's any tension or there's any resistance in the body. You can go to that space where you feel it. I currently feel just a little bit in my knees And so the next time I inhale, I'm going to focus on that. And when I exhale, I'm going to allow my body to take that energy away from that tension to move it around somewhere else. This is also how you start to perform Reiki on yourself. If you didn't realize that a lot of pain is just stagnant energy in the body. And so a lot of times we just need to help to officiate to move that body around. And so your nervous system, as you are taking the breaths and as you are relaxing, you are in tune with it. It is in full control. Again, your body is the one that is controlling the mind. And your first brain is down here in your right. So now let's go ahead and take our reflective surface. Now is the time we want to actually look at ourselves in the mirror. You can continue to breathe through your square breathing through this portion, because if you are not confident, as we're talking about today, with looking at yourself without breaking the gaze, then this is how you start to be able to do that. You're looking, we're not correcting, you're just observing, you're not fixing, you're offering gratitude, you're not criticizing. So continue to do the square breathing and just look yourself and make eye contact in your reflective surface. The moment that you feel that you want to break the gaze, that's the edge. And that's the edge that you want to push yourself past, right? And so the two phrases, this is what we're going to say tonight. I stand firm in who I am. I stand firm in who I am. And the other one is I trust my decisions. Confidence and trust are one and the same. The thing about self-trust is the same as self-love. Everything that begins with self, and everything that needs self-initiation, you have to start with self before you can then have that outward expression toward something or someone else. When you have trust issues, when you say, I have trust issues, you're acknowledging that you have an issue trusting yourself. Even though we're thinking that we're pinpointing that because of experiences that we've had. And continue to look at your reflective surface, continue to steady your breathing. You can either keep deep breathing or you can return back to your regular base breathing and just be present in the moment as I am talking through this. But yes, a lot of times we are vocalizing distrust from experiences that we have had, usually with interpersonal relationships, usually with family. They could be platonic, it could be romantic as well. And we're saying that, but we're not realizing that it's highlighting that we're not trusting ourselves, because the more we trust ourselves, the more we are more in tune about what situations to go into and what not to. But it's a self thing. And so the more that you trust yourself, the more that you're making the right decision. You don't have to be worried about trusting someone else if you trust yourself, because you will be led and guided by your gut. You will be led and guided by the divine. You will be led and guided by your higher self to trustworthy situations, to trustworthy people. But when you lack trust, it's because you're not listening to yourself. You don't even have the confidence to do so. And then you're taking uncalculated risk, and then you're blaming it on someone else. That's basically what that is. It starts with self. And that's why I said always being grounded. You'll always know where to return to that base energy. Be careful what you put behind I am. We have only about 15 minutes before we go ahead and transition into the application portion. But instead of saying, because I am is your permanent state of mind and being, use I feel. So there are some things where you feel insecure. And as we said, confidence wavers. So that's 100% normal for that to happen, to not feel secure all the time. That's the reason why we're asking what the question was. And that's the reason why we're saying to ourselves, I stand firm in who I am. I trust my decisions. We're asking ourselves, what makes you feel solid within yourself? Emotions change, but you do choose them. That is also power that we don't hone. We think that feelings control us. We think that we can't help how we feel. We think that it overwhelms us. We think that it is so gut and innate. It is not. A lot of people will be surprised at the energy that's innate, as in the energy that we start with. It's not some of those gut Those are reactions and we're choosing them. And again, because we are out of balance and we're not actually in tune with our own rhythm, we think that it happens fast when we can slow it down. I don't have to choose anger if I don't want to choose anger. I could choose peace. And there are things that used to make me angry that don't anymore because I am honing the power of being able to understand and know that I don't have to choose any energy and emotion that I don't want to choose. And so even that has to be reframed. There's no such thing as being too emotional. It's a such thing as being in balance with your energy chakras. It's a such thing as being very in tune emotionally and being very emotionally expressive. But everybody is emotional because emotion stands for energy and motion. And everybody has energy that is moving around. And we express it based on how the feelings that we choose. So there's no such thing as being too emotional. It's everybody is emotional. Some people might be more emotionally expressive. Absolutely, because everything out of balance is chaos. And that's what doing the mirror work would help you to be able to do. Recognize yourself, be in the present moment, be confident in what you're seeing in the mirror because they're different mirrors. It's like the different parts of our bodies, they're different mirrors. So if we have an etherical body, then there will be a way to be able to see that. If we have a physical body, then we use a physical mirror to see that. Emotional body, mental body, we're able to see that. So look in the different mirrors and see what are you projecting, what are you reflecting, and work on that. So as we did our anchoring and being able to say these affirmations, standing firm in who I am, being confident in my choices and in my decisions, we're utilizing the mirror as the portal for self-perception. We're going to start doing a makeup application. The portal is open. I believe that asking questions, as I was taught from Cryon, the asking questions helps to raise the vibration. When you are a seeker of knowledge, you're always ones to ask questions and to want to know. That is so supported by the universe. So continue to ask your questions. You just have to wait for the answer. All right, so our poll results, we had mastering a skill is where somebody feels the most confident, and then accomplishing a goal is where somebody feels most confident. And then we were actually talking about exercise as well, even though that wasn't voted on. We were talking about working out, which you are so right. It gives you energy. It helps you sleep. We forget that we need energy to sleep. You need to actually sleep it on an empty stomach. Unless you are being very intentional with your fasting, you need enough energy to go to sleep. So exercising helps to regulate the body in so many ways. And when I tell you I could do better, people see my physique and assume, but no, I don't always work out the way that I should. Fasting is a great tool for the body that we don't utilize as much as we should. I know I'm to a point where I probably should to help your gut. For any biological women on here, fasting during the monthly, the first day specifically, is magic. Absolutely magic. Fasting during the first day of the menstrual cycle is very powerful for us biological women. And that's another way to just be in tune, is knowing how to use the hormonal changes of the body. So not a ritual as far as a spell, but I heard that vitamin D and magnesium were some good vitamins and minerals to add, likely deficient of, when it comes to regulating the emotions hormonally. And so that could be for, you don't have to be in menopause for that, but magnesium, vitamin D, and then chlorophyll, black seed oil, and it's one more that could be used for hormone imbalances, as well as right now sacral chakra alignment. Look up the sacral chakra. There's going to be certain herbs to use, foods to eat, 288 hertz frequency, sacral chakra. That is exactly what is governing that right there, the sacral chakra. So I want to have a good time doing it tonight. We need to pick some colors. So for Tuesday, for Mars, let me see y'all, hold on. So if you think I should do, because Mars colors, Tuesday colors is red, burgundy, copper. But then what was suggested for confidence, because we're trying to do something like subtle, They keep trying to get me to do leaning towards stuff like subtle or embodiment that's not too loud. It was like bronze, gold, brown. I'm such a weirdo. Some translucent powder before we get all in there. So I think we're going to be doing the red. Looks like we're going to be doing the red. All right. So that means that it won't be a red lip today, even though that's one of my favorites. We'll do on the eye. So red, burgundy, copper. Fire sign always got to have some fire. I'm a Sagittarius sun sign. Taurus. Said big Gemini, not the little. Y'all just stubborn. But I don't think I've had any knowingly. I haven't had any bad experiences with a Taurus. So I wouldn't necessarily say anything. Right. The bull only comes charging under certain circumstances. It's not like it's just ready at all times. Same thing with the Cancer and the crab. If you leave people alone, you might not get certain things, might not even be applicable. But when you don't do that, then you can't get mad at people for reacting. Yep. And how can you get mad at somebody for that? Honestly, you can't get mad at somebody for reacting to your crap. But people do anyway, because people feel entitled to treat people, I'm saying, less than what they would even allow for themselves. Because I'm all about duality. People, I get on here and do this, and you have to remember they made it into a cliche already. Everything is not always love and light, but where there's light, there's darkness, and so you have to be able to allow yourself to go there. Sometimes you have to make an example out of certain situations, certain people, certain things. Said people will push, and then you can't let them think that you are pushed over. You might have to show up for yourself in a certain way. And to do that, I was sharing with a friend of mine the same thing. Don't allow people to do that to you. Because you're in control. But you're in control. You give them control when you react the way that's regretful. Stand by all the decisions that you make. Right. It's okay to be like, dang, I wish I would have reacted different. Whether it's did more or did less. It's okay. That's normal. But stand behind your decisions. You can always reevaluate them, but stand behind your decisions. The more you allow other people to make you think that you're saying, I just be drawing, making up stuff on my face. I don't be doing what I'm doing sometimes. Like I said, it's okay to reevaluate, but don't let people second guess. You make anytime, whatever choice you making is the right in that moment. That's why I say missteps and not mistakes. And I just feel like all has its place. Face is just a canvas. I probably should use my smaller one, but I need to hurry up before that crease out in a way that's gonna make me mad. Create shapes and create illusions and doing all that type of stuff. That's pretty much all it is. Because I was like, I need something better to be able to make sure that the makeup is right here without being in the way. So we made ourselves a little burgundy-ish red color. The red has to do so many applications of it in order to be loud. But we're just watch, don't believe me, just watch. Just deepen that inner corner a little bit. That's what I always appreciated, color theory. When I took advanced art when I was in high school, and then when I went to college, I was an art major. I went to school for graphic communications because we're negative spacing it out. Don't be stubborn. We're negative spacing it out. Most creatives have multiple modalities, and I think it's amazing to be able to experiment and dip and dabble in anything. I think that's the one thing that I regret about college was that I did not do music in college. My music days were only in high school. I had a lot of stuff going on music-wise professionally at that time. I was signed to a production I was negotiating contract for a production company. I was shopping songs to California, and I thought I wanted to go a different direction with my education. I ended up having a music business. We're gonna try to get them as close as possible. Ended up having a music business that would have benefited from me having that degree, but exactly the same, but we're gonna get it as close as we possibly can. I'm not sure because they're not the same at all, but I think that if I do a liner like that, it'll meet with it in a way where I can disguise that part. But those skills are really, I wish I would have went in that direction though. And not that I'm not utilizing, you know what I'm saying? But I think that I should have went in a different direction. Since the other one is more blunt like that, we'll take that tail off. That way it kind of matches. So it's supposed to be bronze, not bronze, red, burgundy, copper. I think the bronze was the other one. So we're just gonna do a reverse and put the darker color here. Darker color was there, we're gonna flip it and put the darker color here, leaving a little bit of the negative space because we're gonna do a liner afterward. And so to be honest, for me, I have to get, because I could do this at home all day, right? And just take my pictures. I have to get more confident in having makeup looks like this and just going out like this. Who's gonna check me? Like, this is my makeup for today. This is what we're doing. This is what I want to do. Because I said I would do all of this, but sometimes I don't go nowhere. I don't go out the house with this. I don't be all that comfortable because you know what? Same how you were saying people will be, when you say you're Taurus, people have automated responses for shit. Let's just say. People have automated responses for shit. And when people see you out like this in public, people always, where are you going? Here. Where I was going is exactly where we are right now. That was the final destination. That was the goal. I'm going here. See, I always go all out for my performances, though. I usually make my outfits, and I definitely do this for a performance. Now, that's completely different. When I tell you, I be trying to do the most when I perform. That is the time to do the absolute most. So, for me personally, yep, I want to stand out on stage a certain way. And so I will always do a little bit more, a little extra. Me? Are you talking about me? Yes. If you are talking about me, yes. I am a singer, songwriter, I guess you could say. I don't know what you're supposed to call it these days. But yes, that is what I be doing. Hope they focus on the music. I don't know. I feel like I have such a big personality. I feel like I can't just be plain Jane. I feel like I just have to do extra stuff. I have to always, I don't know. I don't know what my problem is with that, but I just be like, no, I gotta be very extra. Maybe it's not a problem, but I don't know. Because I think everybody's already paying attention to different shit. I don't know. No, and when I said that out loud, I was thinking like, that is a good point. Focus on the music. So in my mind, I said it out loud when really it was just the internal thought of like, oh, I do, like, I don't know. I just be wanting to be extra, even though focusing on the music is the goal. That is what I want them to do. But I be liking to just do extra shit. I don't know. So when we're talking about stage presence, your attire has something to do with it, but it ain't as if we were to put it on a scale, it's not as important as certain other aspects. I know, and let me tell you, now that you said that, Belby, I had a 5K showcase that I did, meaning I was up to win $2,500. And I lost because I was all dialed up. And one of the judges had a bias where she was saying that she preferred females, especially rappers, to have a different embodiment and not think that they had to be all dialed up and wear a certain type of clothing. And I was just like, oh. When she said that's what let me know how I came in the top 3, but I did not win because of the bias. Because I go extra. I'm very colorful. I'm very animated. And I like that to be expressed with my clothing sometimes so that I don't have to say nothing out of my mouth. And then when I'm performing, that's my time to just embody whoever I feel like I'm being in that moment. So it was just like, wow, okay, ma'am. I had to respect her opinion as a judge, but I know that that's the reason why I didn't win. Because I was the girl that did the most. I was the girl that had on makeup. I had a custom outfit. I had on heels. And nobody came like that. Yep. And they do that. They will stereotype. When we're talking about confidence and embodiment, it's up to you. You can present yourself however you want people to see you. And then you still have to be okay the fact that people are still going to make their own judgments and assumptions by what they see if they misinterpret. Because people see me put on makeup and every single time people be like, I love the look, but like, you don't need all that makeup. And I'll be like, who said I needed it? I never said I needed it. This is just something I enjoy doing. So it is always a projection. And I feel like people that feel like they need to tell me that I don't need makeup, they don't know me or they don't pay attention. They think they know me, but they don't pay attention because I don't think I need makeup. I like makeup. So therefore I play in it. I think something would be wrong with my mental if I felt like I needed this. Especially like every day. No, I don't need this every day. But yeah, I agree. That little element of surprise, you always keep them on their toes, keep them guessing. And there you have it. So we got about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to finalize whatever is going on so that we can move it right along. Only so much correcting before it's just like, leave it be. Sometimes I just don't get it all the way right, and that's 100%. Some people don't wear makeup. Some people don't know how to accentuate certain things about themselves or their features or whatever. So that ends up being something that I get heavily criticized for, because I have the confidence to do that. And if I have the time, I'm going to do it every time. If I have the time to prep, I'm going to make an outfit. You know what I'm saying? That's how confident I am. It's going to be something you ain't never seen before. It's beyond just my style of putting stuff together. Anyway, before we put these lashes on, I'm going to go get the little thin brush to try to bring some more. So I have an Athena, and I'm going to go in the red and see if we can do this red. Tried this before with my poison ivy look, and it was so hard to get this paint to do what I wanted it to do. I'm using the thinnest brush that I can find in this little palette here. And we gonna try to make look at that. I was so scared that I dropped the whole brush on myself. Oh my God, today. But we did it. We made it. I don't know if you could tell. Hold on, y'all. Hold front door. Hold on. How do I do the thing? I don't know how to, hold on. Wait. There you go. Take the background off for a second so we can see. Can we see the red line that we added? So we're going to try to do that on the other side. Steady hand. Pray for a steady hand. Right? We did it. It was better on that side than it was on the first side, to be honest with you. Put it right on top of the black as well and meet it on the corner like that. It was definitely a lot sharper on the other side, but it's all good. It's doing what it's supposed to do. We're going to go one step further, and then at the top too. We're just going to go overboard with the red. Like, fine, why not? Why the frick not? No, that is what everybody always thinks or says. When honestly, I just to do this. This is a part of this. This is just glamour. And a lot of times I can embody and take on this energy and do different things without having to leave the house. That's where a lot of the best manifestations come from. I don't even go anywhere. Very comfortable just using the magic right here. Puppy done got out the crate, y'all. Trying to rebel. We don't know how he got out the crate unless the door just wasn't shut right or properly. We're almost done. Right, there's the eye look. We're doing red, burgundy, and copper. I did a very dramatic, a little bit of graphic liner. And sometimes I used to be scared to practice, y'all, because I used to be like, I'm just going to waste all my product. I get drugstore stuff, and the concealers be like $1, $2 at the beauty supply store. So even hobbies you got to invest in, but you don't have to go broke. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Lola B. 30 Days of Glamour Magic. I am ending out the second half of the live, the second hour, by finishing up the glamour application on my face. I do dip and dabble a lot with color and use a mirror as a portal for self-perception. We started the live on a Tuesday. So we did choose red, burgundy, and copper to embody a very confident, very courage-filled look, filling up the space with my presence, assertiveness, and a lot of fiery forward motion. Mars rules Tuesday, and it's associated with the zodiac sign of Aries, as well as Scorpio, which is fire and water element, cardinal and fixed modalities. It is also associated with the sacral chakra. I feel trusting and being in tune with your emotions. Trust myself to take up space. I trust my decisions. If you feel like you are out of tune with your emotions, hormones, withdrawn, or have issues with control or expression, in addition to the throat chakra, it's also within the sacral. And you can listen to what we're listening to, which is 288 hertz frequency, to be more aligned with the sacral chakra, if there's any misalignment. All right, I said it with some pressed powder, then setting spray, and some translucent powder at the very end. I'm clearing some of my brushes out the way. Usually it's just last little accent at the end. Wait for that to dry. Put some blush on. Probably do like the gold bronzy, and then that is about it. This is what makes me feel the most confident doing my makeup. Or not even just what makes you confident. What do you do to return back to your base confidence when it wavers, when you're not as confident, what do? I know we talked about working out. That's one thing. What do? I need my thicker pencil. Sitting in silence, writing poetry, listening to music. Absolutely. And I think the whole discussion tonight highlighted the fact that a lot of the things that help us to ground ourselves, get in a meditative state, that is what makes us feel confident. And that is perfect because that is recognizing your base energy and knowing how to get back to it so that any type of situations that you experience out in the world, you'll know how to do that for yourself. I don't have to be going nowhere special. Me being right here is special. Don't let them make you think otherwise. Life is a special occasion. And so when you show up with confidence, people may question it. What's that all about? But you just continue showing up. You just continue being unapologetic. You continue showing them that it don't have to be aligned with what you think is a special occasion. It could be just because. All right. Yesterday we wore the same gloss, but we didn't have a liner, so it may look a little bit different on the lips today. So do you see it better? Let me see. Hold on. Wait a minute. Thank you so much for hanging in with me. This was 30 Days of Glamour Magick. This is the final makeup look. What we normally do at this point when I am done is we have to then close the portal. We use the reflective surfaces during the mirror work as well as through the whole glamour practice. So we close the portal at the very end. Because see, that's brighter, but I don't know what is better for the whole situation. Just remember that confidence grows when we stop abandoning ourselves. So we talked about self-love yesterday. And that is just building upon how to remain confident, is to continue to do that self-work, continue to put yourself first, continue to remember how to get back to that base and root energy within yourself. Today was live, started on Tuesday, and we were talking about confidence, courage, and presence. We used red, burgundy, and copper color, that embodiment. I focused on my eyes, and we're utilizing mirror as a portal for self-perception. Today was about I feel, the sacral chakra, the Mars energy coming through. Biggest takeaway is always just to use a structure, a format, practices that support you, not putting it on as armor. We're not talking about being on defense. We do talk about protection as we are utilizing portals. But when it comes to the glamour itself, it is just supportive. It is stabilizing. It is neutralizing. It is not defensive. It is not forceful. And it is not apologetic. So we would take our cloth, same as before with our alcohol. Just a little goes a long way. Now we're going to close it going counterclockwise in circles. We're going to make sure to say our specific incantation for closing the portal, which is I am in full control of how I present myself. With specific and precise intention, every application amplifies my inner being. I attract only what I allow, and I repel all that serves me none. This glamour is sealed with clarity and care. So mote it be. Then we go ahead and cloak it and put it away. That mirror is sealed, closed, and we're ready to use it on next glamour application when we open it again. I'm hoping that you learned something, that you enjoyed the time that was spent here. You never can have too much positive talk. You can never have too many times where you're replacing any unwanted or negative thoughts with what you want it to actually be. So sometimes I go into affirmation overload because I'm a ruminator. I'm an overthinker. I'm just always in her head. So the more positive thoughts I have, the better. Right here at the bottom, after a couple little shuffles, we have I am grateful for all that I have and all that I am beautiful inside and out. Somebody needs to hear these specific things. I embrace the rhythm of life and I let it unfold. We'll do one more. Everything that is happening now is for my ultimate good. So we had I am grateful for all that I have and all that I am. I am beautiful inside and out. I embrace the rhythm of life and let it unfold, and everything that is happening now for me is for my ultimate good. I am grateful for all that I have and all that I am. I am beautiful inside and out. I embrace the rhythm of life and let it unfold, and everything that is happening now is for my ultimate good. We can finish also, we can piggyback that. I fell on the floor with some love messages from our higher self using the love oracle deck. Higher self messages. I don't know why that's a tongue twister for me. Higher self messages, Spirit. Get 2 more. I Am Ascending came out for a higher self message the other day as well. We have I Hope You Are Doing Well. I Still Care About You, and I've Never Met Someone Like You. So the higher self was going ham yesterday, really encouraging us to continue to elevate with all the work that we're doing. And now we're talking about I Still Care About You. I've Never Met Someone Like You. We are definitely, when it comes to self-perception and using mirrors as the portals, we are really meeting different parts of ourselves. We are meeting ourselves where we are. So I think that's an amazing part of the message, to say that I've never met someone like you. Our higher self is obsessed with us. We learned that yesterday, and it had me so giddy. Understand that we're always seeking outside validation, but I Still Care About You is saying that the self-love portion is very much so intact. And so as you are going on your journey and you're having different experiences and living out different relationship dynamics with other people based off of your desires, you're forgetting that you're still loved, you're loved and cared about. It's a self-containing thing. It does not, you don't need anyone else to love yourself. You don't need anybody else to care for yourself. And then I hope you are doing wellness, wholeness, top to bottom, inside and out, just really being well. Not faking the funk, not lying to yourself, but aligning yourself with the version of you that is operating at the highest capacity, at optimal health, wellness, and abundance. So those are some higher self messages. We are ascending, yet evolving, raising the vibration, even when we're coming together and doing things as such. And remembering that self-love and the self-care is all contained within, does not need or doesn't thrive off of external validation. Higher self is completely obsessed with you and wants to commune with you more often. So make sure that you are doing what is needed to plug into that, to nurture those parts of yourself. And I want you to enjoy life. It's also on the bottom of the deck. Thank y'all so much for being here, for participating in the polls, for letting me know how you felt most confident and what you do to return back to that confidence. I appreciate the feedback and the engagement. Going through that glow up, new opportunities, new career, successful business. And that's why there's no room for doubt. Somebody that may be in the energy that's incompatible, and so they're not going to align with all this newness in life, and that's completely okay. Talk about nightlife, somebody that just kind of lives on the edge, but it's like this hasn't, the collective that resonates with my soul essence, that hasn't been our energy so far. We've been still in solitude. See, we're in healing, and there's some incompatible energy that's like a nightlife, somebody that just likes to fly by the seat of their pants, literally, that you have already burned bridges with, or will burn, or they've burned a bridge with you, is what I meant to say. That you turn your back on because you are headed in a new direction. And with that new direction, somebody that is unpredictable, because everything that we're talking and teaching, that is not what they do. They might even dip and dabble in the black arts. And so Spirit is encouraging you, go in the new direction without turning back. Have the confidence. It takes bravery to leave situations, people, places, things, bad habits. It takes confidence and trust to continue to maintain the boundary, even for yourself. Nobody has to know the things that you gave up. But if you do have accountability partners, then you let them know, like, this is what, we turn the whole internet to our accountability partner when we set New Year's resolutions and post them on the internet January 1st. But at the end of the day, it's between you and you. You don't have to tell anybody what it is that you're trying to abstain from, or what you're leaving, or what you're trying to do better about. Spirit is just saying that whatever you do and however you do it, that it's time for you to just let go, clear your mind, be decisive, and then be consistent. And that's really it. Just piggybacking on everything that we've been talking about. All this work is only going to be solidified by you actually taking it serious and taking steps forward and not backwards. Actually being serious and staying consistent. By actually being serious and showing the universe that you know what you want, because we are specific, remember, with our spell work. We don't do stuff haphazardly or believe in coincidences. We are very intentional in everything that we do. So push on, be encouraged, and continue to come back and join us for just a little bit more. I appreciate y'all for hanging in with me and vibing. And feel free to inbox and reach out if you're interested in any services or would like to know other type of services that I offer outside of this. Be confident, be well, be kind to yourself, to others, everything around you. And we'll see you next time.